What is up, everyone? Back with another review, and today we're going to be looking at a couple figures. We've got Carnor Jax and we've got Emperor Palpatine. I actually didn't have Emperor Palpatine in my collection prior to this, so I was excited to add him. And I did pick up two of those Carnor Jax figures, as you can see why. They look pretty good flanking the Emperor there in that image. So we're going to dive into Carnor Jax first. So as we take a closer look at him, we'll be taking a look at the good, the bad, and everything in between. So without further ado, we're going to jump right in with Carnor Jax first. And the elephant in the room here is pretty apparent, and that is the purple underside of that cape. It is bright, it is sparkly, and it really stands out. Now, I am not super familiar with Carnor Jax and his story. I did do a little bit of research. It sounds pretty intriguing. It's just from media that I haven't had a chance to catch up on. Seems like in the era after Darth Vader and after Emperor Palpatine, he comes along and is an apprentice to whatever Sith has taken over in the void of those other two characters. Looking back at the figure, you are able to kind of manipulate that cape to hide the purple. In which case, if you're just looking for a Crimson Guard or one of these Emperor's Royal Guards, I think they go by a couple names, it does kind of suffice to be a stand-in for that. And they are cheaper than the Crimson Guards that I've come across outside of this figure. I think I picked these up for about 15 bucks. And if you want one of the normal ones, it's going to cost you about 30. So for the price of one of the others, I got two of these, so you can't beat the deal. I think he looks best like this in that pose as one of those Crimson Guards, and really looks good flanking someone of importance like the Emperor, as you can see here. So that's the best way I've found to pose them. There is some other articulation, but I just wanted to mention, as I was trying to get him into some poses, you can see there's a piece there that fell off of somewhere. I'm not sure where, but just know that his articulation is pretty limited, especially on the head. It doesn't turn, and as you can see, as I kind of tried to get him into some of those action poses, this was the result. And even looking at the box art, he's not doing anything too crazy in his stance, so I wasn't too torn up about it. I was able to get him into this action pose, which was about the most action-y pose I could get him into. You've got the pistol or blaster in the right hand there. It's holstered on the right side as well, but I could never get it to stay in very well. It kept falling out and was a pretty loose fit in the hand. I ended up switching it over to the left hand, and this is a pretty good pose that I've got him in. He looks pretty opposing in his stance, the way he's holding the blaster, but it was kind of counterintuitive since it's not holstered on his left side, so it wouldn't make sense for him to hold it in his left hand. So that kind of threw things off a bit for me. And you'll see as we look a little bit closer, kind of why his hands are kind of weird. I don't know what the background is there, but it does seem to be consistent on both the figures I got, and kind of represented on the box art. So not really sure what happened there. I think it was just a bad mold. They don't look particularly great, and kind of awkward looking. Looking at the figure itself, again, closer at the torso and the helmet. The helmets and the torso and the limbs are all kind of a different shade of red. The helmet's a shinier, darker red. The armor's a lighter, kind of a matte red without as much shine to it, and the clothes are an even darker red. Looks like they just painted over the black, so that's a little off-putting, but I think, again, if you kind of position that cape just right, he looks okay. Moving on to Emperor Palpatine now, and he's pretty no frills, no thrills, kind of your standard figure that you would expect for this character. We'll turn him around here in just a sec so you can get a look at a few different angles. I think the soft goods on this are pretty nice, and he's got more soft goods than it might seem. Not only is that hood and kind of shawl, a soft goods piece, but underneath it he's got more soft goods as well as some plastic goods to kind of hold everything together, like his belt and the piece that holds the cape together up by the neck. So that's kind of neat. They kind of mix it well together between the soft goods and the plastic goods. And I think this is one of the better capes that I've seen. The hood looks really nice, and they really did a good job of making it hold its form. That's largely due to the stitching they put in place. And I kind of wish they did that on more capes. You'll see what I'm talking about when we get a closer look at him in a little bit. Here he's with the hood down. There's a lot of detail in the head sculpt and the face, a lot of wrinkles. You can really see that they took some time in the design there, and it looks pretty realistic, especially compared to the movie and the actor that played them. The cane, however, is a bit short. I hunched him over here, but it just looks awkward. I think he looks best standing more upright and without the cane, and I'll show you what that looks like in just a second here. But yeah, in order to get that cane to touch the ground, I really had to hunch him over in a way that doesn't look quite as natural. So when we stand him back up and we take the cane away and kind of position his arms and hands just kind of resting in front of him, it looks a lot better. The hood kind of pulled down over his face a little more looks pretty good too. And as we take a closer look at his face, you can kind of see those wrinkles and that detail a bit more. There's also like this weird shimmer or shine to his eyes, which I thought was kind of creepy. The camera doesn't do it justice. It's really a lot of detail that went into this face sculpt, and it's nice to see that at least. So all in all, both solid figures. I think they look best like this. Certainly not great by any means, but with a little work you can get them to look pretty good on your shelf among the rest of your collection. And that's going to do it for this one. If you like what you see, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future videos, and thanks for watching.